Brothers and sisters, in the final episode of the television series Touched by an Angel, Jesus disguises himself as a man who is accused of killing all the children in a small country town. The angel Monica is sent to work on the case as part of her assessment to determine whether she's ready to obtain an angelic promotion. In this final episode, Monica makes a stark choice. Rather than putting the promotion first, she chooses to stay with the man who is falsely convicted of the murder, pledging to remain with him all his days in prison. Jesus, disguised as the innocent man, was putting Monica to the test as part of her assessment, to see what she would do. Would she choose the easier path, leaving the man behind in prison for the sake of her promotion, or would she choose to make a sacrifice by staying with him for the term of his imprisonment? When Jesus finally reveals himself to her, he says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into your master's joy." In today's gospel, Jesus reminds us of our respective places. He is God, who is the master. He is infinite, omnipotent, and all-powerful. Directly following today's reading, Luke recounts the story of Jesus healing 10 lepers simply through his words. On the other hand, Jesus reminds us that we are all called to be servants. As human beings, we are mere creatures, limited in nature and power, and ultimately subject to illness and death. According to Jesus, it is only right that servants get fed last, that they put others before themselves, and that they can't expect great acts of gratitude for the work that they do, which is simply a case of fulfilling their duty. In today's egotistical and narcissistic world, a world where people now believe they can be and do anything they like, these words of Jesus would be highly offensive to personal sensitivities. If Jesus' words were posted up on a billboard in our major cities, there would probably be demands that they be taken down. No reflection or consideration will be made on the depth and meaning of Jesus' words. No sense would be made of our limited natures and how before God we really are but specks of dust. The world today very much lives as the Israelites did during the days of the prophet Habakkuk. Injustice, wholesale immorality, worship of false gods, and lives offensive to the God of goodness and truth are very much part of the modern landscape, as they were just before Israel was taken off into exile into Babylon. If Habakkuk were here today, we would probably hear the same words as we heard in the first reading. Brothers and sisters, if we don't want our world to go the same way as Israel did all those centuries ago, we need to recognize again that God is master over the world. As the psalmist says today, "Come in, let us bow and bend low, let us kneel before the God who made us." Without God as our head, master and companion, we're surely heading towards societal collapse. But as we know from the history of Israel, irrespective of the trajectory the world is on, God is always ready to intervene and relent should we turn our faces back towards him. To do this, we need to increase our faith, trust, and hope in God. That increase in our faith comes with putting everything into the proper perspective. We must recognize God and his omnipotence. We must recognize our own shortfalls before him, and in simply doing what we're called to do, we'll find God working in the most fascinating ways. In that last Touched by an Angel episode, Monica really did want that promotion to a new angelic role, but she was prepared to forsake it for a man who was falsely accused of murder. She chose the better path. But it was in choosing that better path, in making herself a servant, that she found herself elevated to the very role she was seeking. So, brothers and sisters, if we want to move mountains or mulberry trees, like saving a failing marriage, or getting our children or grandchildren to go to Mass, or to save the planet from environmental devastation, or to get ourselves out of the terrible messes we find ourselves in, we need to humble ourselves before God, seek to follow in his ways, seek to serve and not be served, and then we may be quietly surprised to find that in our littleness, that tiny mustard seed gives birth to miracles beyond our imagination. We just need to be patient as God is calling us to be in the first reading from Habakkuk. God says, "If it comes slowly, wait, for come it will without fail. Let us remain faithful, living holy lives, serving each other and praying for each other. And all good things will come to those who do not lose hope in the Lord, who is the Master and ruler of all.